Hi everyone, this is Jamie at Utah Futures, and today we'll be talking about the reporting functionality on the site. This is a feature that's only available to counselors, teachers, administrators who have requested to be admins for their school site. To get started, you'll want to log into your Utah Futures account, and if you have been approved as an administrator, when you click on your name, click on the drop-down menu, you will see an additional user role that says your school name. So mine on our test system is under Bountiful School, so it says user role Bountiful School. When I click on that link, it takes me to the reporting features of Utah Futures. So across the top here are the tabs that we'll be using in today's screencast. We have a list of our members, and if you don't see members yet on your screen, that's okay. We have manage groups, pending approvals, admins, and run reports. The first thing that happens when your students attach to your school is that they have to be approved into the reporting system. It doesn't mean that they don't have an account, it just means that you have to approve them to run reports on them. And the reason for that is just a safeguard for schools who may be collecting parental permission. All of these students that you see right here, I have approved into the reporting system. The first step when you log in, if you see no members, is to click on Pending Approvals. When you click on Pending Approvals, you'll see a list of students who have identified your school as being their school. If you're collecting permission forms, you'll want to look through and approve each student individually. If you know that you have a form back from everyone, then you can click on the link at the top. It will select all of your students, and then you can click Approve Members. So this is your safeguard to make sure that you're not running a report on a student who maybe you're not allowed to run reports on. So once I select my students, I'll click on Approve Members, and then you'll see that that student drops into my members drop-down list. So these first two tabs are just managing your students. The first tab, you can add them to a group. You can remove them from the school if they move and you no longer want to see them on your school, then you can remove them from your school. Or if they are a 9th grader who maybe or an 8th grader and has moved on to the high school, and they haven't transferred their account over to their new school yet, then you can remove them from your school manually. The second tab is managing your groups. So as a counselor, sometimes you might only see students between maybe the last name A through F, or you only see seniors, or you work closely with maybe AP students. So you could create a new group of students by typing in the group name and clicking on Create Group. Then down below you'll see a list of all of the students who you have added to those individual groups. If you want to delete a group, you can also delete a group from this drop-down menu. Okay, so I just created the AP Students group and I want to add some members to it. So I'm going to go back to the members screen and I'm going to select a few students. And then I'm going to say, okay, I want to add these students to my AP Students group. I'll select AP Students from the drop-down menu and click Add to Group. And then when I go back to my Group tab, if I look under AP Students, I'll see a list of those students that I added to this class or this group. So these first two tabs, just managing all of my students. The third tab we already went over, that's our Pending Approvals tab. Then the fourth tab is the Admin tab. If you are an admin for your school, then your name should be listed here. You will also see other counselors or teachers who have been given administrative approval for your school. We trust that you know your school better than we do, so we are allowing you to either approve admins or remove admins. At Utah Futures, we also have access to approve your admins, but sometimes it's a little bit faster for you to know that someone has requested to become an admin and then just go in on your reporting screen and approve them. The last tab is probably the most important one, and this is the Reports tab. So there are 3 different options for running reports on Utah Futures. You can run an individual report, a report on one of those groups that you set up, or you can run a school-wide report. Once you get inside of the reporting, they all look the same. It's just determining which report you want to run. Okay, so first I'm going to run an individual report. As I start typing a student's name, my options will appear in my drop-down menu. I select their name and then select Run Report. I have two options of reports that I can run. I can run a summary report that just gives me basic information about if the student has or has not completed that assessment or that activity, or I can run a detailed report and I can see the results of their assessments. So the first one, a summary report, I'm just going to click Select All. You can go through and choose what you would like a list of, but just because I know I don't have a lot of details with this student, I'm going to select all. We've broken this down into the assessments, the activities, and then what we've called the interests. What occupation are they interested in? What school? What scholarship? So I'm going to run a report on all of these and click View Report. Right now the report's all open as a PDF form. So I can see for this particular student, they've completed the Career Cluster Inventory and the Interest Profiler, and I can see when they completed it. So that's an individual summary report. If I want to see an individual detailed report, then I can click on Detailed Report, and I can see the results of all of the assessments and activities as well. So they haven't taken the Bobulator. Here are their results of the Career Cluster Inventory, the results of the Interest Profiler, and then down here some information about the schools that they have saved. This particular student didn't save any schools, but they've saved these occupations to their account. So that's an overview of running an individual report. To go back to the reports page, I'm just going to click on the Run Reports tab, and I'll show you option number 2. So let's say that I have all those students that I put in the AP Students group. I also know that I have students in my A through F students group, and I want to run a report on all of them. Okay, so I still have, this screen looks the same as it did in running an individual report. The only difference that you need to know is that when you're running a detailed report, you will only see a detailed report of the interests. So you can't run a detailed report on assessments and activities, only on interests when we're talking about a group report. So I'll show you quickly a summary report. I'm only going to select a couple of assessments to view, but now I'm looking at the results for all of the students who are in my A through F student group. I can see which ones have and have not completed each assessment, and I can see the date that they completed the assessment. So that's a summary report of a group that I have defined. If I want to run a detailed report, again, you can't run a detailed report on assessments, but I could run a detailed report and see which occupations and which schools are my A through F students interested in. And now I'll see a detailed report. I can tell that there are 4 students who are interested in attending Salt Lake Community College, and I can identify who those students are. All the way down to, only 1 student has saved UVU and Weber State. I can also see the same for their occupations. So that would be a group report. The school report, the school-wide report, looks exactly like the group report. You're just running it for every student in your school instead of just a defined group of students. So those are the new reporting features on Utah Futures. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. Thanks.